Namanda, 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 namanda.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome to today's family service. My name is Ron Suchiya, and I'll be the chairperson today. We'll begin this morning's service with Sanbujo on pages 24 and 25. Now we'll have sutra chanting, Sho Shin Ge on page 33.
Descendants 遅れみだ仏本願自念即時唯一上唯の上昇如来語法大具世音天人菩薩造論説奇妙無下公如来永周たら見真実後世の超大世願こういう本願力栄光医療群上昇維新非入六大崩壊実逆入大永修修特使連携造世界即生信用本精進有門の人間人図優勝自音自用下本師論難両天使超高難消防殺来三蔵ルシ十条教権上宣教気楽法天人菩薩論中下法道因果見世願方言で交流たり象徴心因類心人惑前本部新人ポーズ承知承知即涅槃一心無量光明道小宗教回復系同社結晶道南省唯妙浄土活入万全自力縁言宗延安特合感染症三不三心慶音言増末法滅道因一生増悪知偶然思安如外称名観全道独名無償意法愛上三用逆は公明明語見人年海入本願大機会行者少女今後心教義一年総報告用意大道百三人即小小市上ら現進公開時代教延期安養管理祭先祖修心安全人王権理道正面流国中悪人類小物大薬剤摂取中門の証言水風権大義務権上昇が本地元空病仏教連民全幕門部人新宗教書公演集先着音願部惑星現代生自人伝下決地上位昇進即入六条無意な一致新人異能流空教大慈 即修不動心有理可心し高層Nembutsu page 62. I'm sorry, 63.
Please stand for the Gatha Nembutsu I on page 99 in the White Book, and remain standing for the reading of Ryo Ge Mon II on page 14 in the Purple Book. And if you've forgotten all that, it's up on on the screen.
Switch books, Purple Book, page 14, Ryo Ge Mon II. Altogether, I rely on Amida Buddha with my whole heart for the attainment of nirvana. I give up trust in my powerless self and abandon all practices that rely on the false ego. I know that because of Amida's boundless compassion, I am assured of rebirth the very moment I put my trust in Amida. I call the name Namo Amida Butsu in happiness and thankfulness for the gift of the universal vow. I am grateful for Shinran Shonin and his followers for leading me to this profound teaching. I will try to live throughout my life according to the way of Nembutsu that they have taught. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, Namanda, Namanda. Please be seated.
Now, Reverend Fujimoto will share a Dharma message with us.
Namanda, 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 Namanda. Good morning. Ohayou gozaimasu. Okay. Sorry to change the chanting on you. I wanted to leave out the poems at the end of the Sho Shin Ge and change to our usual Nembutsu Ekoku. But I gave you the wrong page and everything, so messed that up. So today, earlier this week, we had a funeral service in San Diego, so I was able to go down. One of our fellow ministers had passed away, Reverend Carol Himaka, and so she had served a lot of years in the Bay District, and she was a student at IBS along with myself and Reverend Marvin. A few of us were there at the same time, so maybe about 8 years ago, Reverend Carol had a kind of like a stroke and never came back to serve anymore. And she was placed in a nursing facility. Then finally, her family in San Diego took her down to live with them there, and so we didn't really get to see Carol anymore, Reverend Carol. So some of you may know her or of her, or I know she did some work with the Junior Y, and she did this book. So she was a coordinator. They made this book when she was the head of the education department. And so towards the front, they have acknowledgments, and she wrote a part of that. So you could read some of her words when you have time, thanking who and who contributed to creating this book. And one of the things she wrote that, it is my hope that this new edition will signal only the beginning of an ongoing effort by the BCA to continue to revise new service books for future generations of Shinshu Buddhists in America. So this was, every temple received this book, and many of us, we still use this quite a bit. And some temples have subsequently made their own service books, a few changes, but a lot of this work remains in their copies as well. So major contribution during her time. So I went to San Diego for this service, and just a one-day trip, whirlwind trip, and I was telling the Dharma school, when you go someplace like San Diego and you see the water, the ocean, so wow, right? Compared to our little Alameda Beach, their beaches just extend forever. Their water extends forever instead of, you could see the other side here, and even the animals. So a number of ministers, maybe about 12 ministers were there. One of them was from Oxnard, and he's a new minister. I asked him, do you go to the beach over there? He goes, oh, yeah, I try to run out there sometimes. And so comparing running on Alameda to running in, the Southern California beaches. So do you run with shoes or barefoot? He goes, oh, I wear shoes because they have oil globs here and there from their refineries, right? So, oh, okay. Do you see animals? So sometimes there's sea lions on the beach, and so different perspective than what we see. I see smaller things. Geese is my story. They get sea lions. So, yeah, but to go down to San Diego and have this service with them, and when we have such a major service, usually one or two of us is chanting the introductory chant before the main Sho Shin Ge that we do at funerals, and we'll stand up here. But when it's a minister, there's a number more ministers that come. So there's like 8 of us all lined up here to chant, and watching that, thinking of the funeral service. Really appreciate the funerals that we are able to provide in our tradition, and so for Reverend Carol, have you guys seen this commercial? There's a commercial where a little girl, she has a dream of being skating in the Olympics, right? So she climbs up in her little dress and climbs up into the attic, and she lines up all her little stuffy animals, right? And then she opens up the music box and she does her routine. And as the routine starts, all the animals come to life, right? And they're watching her, right? And so this is kind of how I felt like, how I feel when I do a funeral. These spring to life. Rennyo Shonin, Shinran Shonin, Amida Buddha, and they come and participate in the service, right? So that the little girl's doing her routine and the animals come to life and she gets into the middle of it and they're cheering and she gets to the end of it and, they hand up 10, 10, 10, and they're judging her. And then finally she takes her bow and that's the end of the commercial. So it's one of my, I guess, coming up to the Winter Olympics, but it's kind of a new commercial. It's really, really cute. But I thought of that just this morning. I thought, yeah, that's what I do when I come to the funeral service. All these things come to life, and this is why I read today. We read Ryo Ge Mon. So that was written by Rennyo Shonin on this secondary altar over here, the 8th Monshu of our tradition, right? And Rennyo Shonin, when we come to our funerals, he also wrote the white ashes that we read at the end, and those are a collection of letters that he wrote in simple Japanese, passed them out to the farmers, the peasants, and not scholarly writings, but simple everyday language in Japanese, and he passed these out like one sheet of paper at a time, and this is how he got in touch with his Sangha members. The papers would be picked up and read, but very likely by the women of the households, right? They're taking care of their children, and they'll have this little page and learn what Jodo Shinshu perspective is on a number of different topics. And they could talk about it to their neighbor, their friends, and share it with their children. And through this, very much the grassroots movement of Shin Buddhism, very much indebted to Rennyo Shonin. And so he was not known for his scholarly approach, but very approachable language, right? A people's person. So Rennyo Shonin had that kind of persona, that kind of influence on the people of his time. Some of you know, he had 5 wives, right? And 4 of them passed away when he was when they were young. 27 children he had, right? Incredible, right? 7 with his first wife, 10 with his second wife. And so 4 of his wives passed away, and so he's getting remarried, and through this, good number of his children passed away. So he was really familiar with losing people in his life. So because of this, all the more, when you read this white ashes, we come to the end of our life and we become, out of cremation, we become white ashes. And this going through this transition of life and death was very close to him, right? So to hear his words and to read it repeatedly at every funeral service, Rennyo comes to life, right? And doing these chants, the Sho Shin Ge, every time the Sho Shin Ge has a funeral version. And so Shinran Shonin comes to life in my mind, in my little boy imagination as I work as a minister, So when we consider what Rennyo went through during his lifetime, it's really impactful and touching when I read, when any of us maybe hear the white ashes, and even people who don't understand the Japanese, it has such a presence and power in the Japanese the way it is presented, so many people I've heard, oh, I like the Japanese version better than the English version because it pulls at you, right? Yeah, so many people have told me this. So when we chant the Sho Shin Ge, there's different sections of the Sho Shin Ge, and Rennyo had written something to explain to people what Shinran had written in his Sho Shin Ge, and in his explanations, there's one section that talks about all the light of Amida Buddha, and there's like 12 different names that Amida is called. Let's see. 12 different names. So the Buddha of immeasurable light, the Buddha of boundless light, Buddha of unhindered light, Buddha of unequaled light. So all these different names, but he's kind of explaining each one as he goes. He provides this name, and he's talking about this, and Buddha of immeasurable light. He says this expresses the immensity of the benefits of the light for the past, the present, and the future. There's no limit to the measurement of this light. Okay, and he's talking about how vast and how extensive the light of Amida is. The boundless light, Buddha of boundless light, is another name of Amida Buddha. It says it expresses the enormous virtues of its illumination. The light exhausts the 10 quarters and beyond. There's nothing that is not illuminated by this light. So he repeatedly telling people the different aspects of this light that extends and reaches all corners, even the darkest corners of our lives, darkest corners of our hearts. Okay, Buddha of unhindered light. Says there's 2 obstructions, outer obstructions, and he says things like mountains, rivers, earth, clouds, fog, and inner obstructions, greed, hatred, ignorance, pride. And so he's talking about how this unhindered light goes beyond even these outer things, mountains and rivers, even beyond the inner things of greed and hatred. So he's explaining different aspects of, not just light, but this type of light that reaches into our being as people. Okay? Buddha of unequal light means that in terms of light, nothing compares with it. And he tells each one different story about each of them. And it kind of goes on and on. Buddha of joyful light is produced from the wholesome roots of non-hatred. Okay? So he's talking about all the different types of lights. So when we think about these different types of lights, light that excels the sun and the moon, Buddha of inconceivable light, Buddha of pure light. So when we think about this, we are taught to consider wisdom beyond limitations. Okay, he's showing expanding into all things. And when we think of our limited way of thinking, of right and wrong, good and bad, we have this dualistic perspective on how we see things. And so this is our self-centered perspective. So there's self and other, and we have this division in how we see things. And as we come to recognize this light of Amida and come to recognize what they're trying to convey as the wisdom of Amida, so the wisdom of Amida comes to us, and this is our awakening, to come to this singleness of mind and not this dualness of mind. Okay, so as this happens, so many things occur in our world today, right? And when we think about them, oftentimes people wonder, well, what is the Buddhist perspective on this or that? Something happens, what would the Buddhist perspective say? What do you say as someone who's a practitioner of Buddhism or a Nembutsu follower. And so through this Nembutsu teaching, we're urged to recognize our personal perspective of the world, right? That is dual, okay? We recognize our self-serving, self-centered point of view. And this is what the Ryo Ge Mon said, right? I give up trust in my powerless self and abandon all practices that rely on the false ego. So this false ego is my self-centered perspective, dual perspective of everything, okay? And to come to this single perspective that Amida, the light of Amida, provides, okay? So gradually we're moved beyond this dualistic perspective, yes, no, right, wrong, good, bad, to this non-dual perspective that is awakened awareness. So when we are asked, what is the Buddhist perspective, we want to engage in these conversations, in these discussions of things happening in the world today, but at the same time, Buddhism informs us of a deeper perspective. It provides the values through the teachings of the Dharma, and we're informed of perspective beyond dual. Okay, so when we're asked to step beyond this dualistic perspective, and then we're asked, what do you think about this dualistic happening in the world? Then it becomes a little bit conflicted to come up with a response. Okay, it pulls us back into this world of right and wrong and good and bad, right? And away from this singleness of mind that is this awakened perspective. But at the same time, we are informed. We have this recognition of our limited perspective, limitations of duality, okay, and singleness of mind. So all of this comes to our mind, informing us and giving us a deeper perspective, a deeper recognition of things that are happening all around us. Okay. So we encourage dialogue, but we do at the same time see that there is both this perspective that we have, that we move beyond. All right. So I'd like to read again this Ryo Ge Mon. You find it on page 14. Purple book, page 14. I rely on Amida Buddha with my whole heart for the attainment of nirvana. I give up trust in my powerless self and abandon all practices that rely on the false ego. I know that because of Amida's boundless compassion, I am assured of rebirth the very moment I put my trust in Amida. I call the name Namo Amida Butsu in happiness and thankfulness for the gift of the universal vow. I am grateful for Shinran Shonin and his followers for leading me to this profound teaching. I will try to live throughout my life according to the way of Nembutsu that they have taught. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida. Thank you.
Thank you, Sensei, for your very enlightening talk. That was very interesting to hear some of the background of how this all came about. Please stand for the Gatha, We Are One, on page 150 and 152 in the White Book. We have some acknowledgments. Thank you to those who helped with the altar preparations and with the service. Reverend Dennis, you too, Brian, and Brian has provided us the outline of the program, if you noticed that this morning. Altar flowers, Jane, our organist, Lenny, and to those who brought refreshments. Are there any newcomers or visitors today? No, I don't see anybody. So we have some announcements. Next Sunday, February 1st, it's the Shotsuki monthly memorial service, and there will also be an Abo meeting after the service. On Sunday, February 8th, the Etaikyo and Nirvana Day service, and also on the same day, Abo New Year Luncheon at Pier 29. And today is the last day to RSVP, so if you'd like to attend and have an RSVP, please see Maria after the... Oh, yes. That's even easier. Let's see. As a reminder, our membership drive for 2026 is ongoing, so please renew or join if it helps support our temple. And you can renew your membership on our website or with the membership form in the Upaya. And please let us know if you have any questions about membership. Are there any other announcements? Oh, Dorothy?
Can we pay at the event? Cash.
I think Jackie said you can pay something to that event. You can also Venmo and PayPal.
But after today, there won't be any refunds. We have to cancel, but they will package up lunches for anybody who signed up but couldn't attend the same event.
Okay, are there any other questions or announcements? Okay, seeing none. Today we have the Ask Reverend Dennis session. So, Sensei.
Okay, today's our Ask Reverend Dennis. So I have a couple